After high school, my life went downhill. I was the popular guy, I had lots of friends and was a 3-year varsity basketball and football player. Everyone loved me and a lot of people had high expectations for me. But after not taking school seriously and getting declined from every college that I applied to, I realized that it was time for me to start taking life seriously. After breaking the news to my parents, they kicked me out of the house. I remember my mom packing my bags for me and saying, "How can you be this stupid?" "Honey, he has a path," my dad interjected. I would always hear my dad trying to side with me. "A path? What kind of path? He's a failure," she said, crying, throwing my suitcase onto the porch. "And don't come back until you're rich or dead," she said, slamming the door. I didn't try to argue because at the end of the day it was my fault. I stared at the slammed door, gathered my thoughts, and I was on my own. A few days after I had gotten kicked out of the house, my dad got in a terrible car accident and died immediately. It was my mom's biggest regret to have me cut off from my dad days before he passed. Being broke and homeless, I found myself couch surfing with the few friends that stayed in town for college. It started to set in on me that I needed income, but more importantly, a place to sleep. I began job searching online, scouring the category of jobs with housing. I found many jobs for things such as a park ranger, a nanny, and a flight attendant, but one ad stood out like a sore thumb. It was an ad for a security guard position on a cruise ship. I clicked on it and it said, 2-week security guard position, one way from Honolulu to Sydney. What? I thought to myself. I clicked on more info and it said it was paying $5,000 plus a free flight back. It also said that nobody would be aboard except for 2 security guards and the captain. I scoffed. Yeah, right, too good to be true. I clicked apply and it took me to a page asking for my info. I typed it in and then it said to expect a call within the next couple of minutes. And sure enough, I heard my phone ring. I picked it up and a man with a deep voice started speaking to me. "Hello, is this Santiago?" Yes, I applied for the security guard position," I said nervously. "Well, yes, we had a last-minute cancel and are in desperate need of one starting tonight." "Tonight it's almost 5 p.m., I said, confused. "Yes, tonight, 11 p.m. at Redacted Port. Make sure to bring clothes to last 14 days, water and food will be provided, along with all other essentials. Any questions?" "No, 11 p.m. I'll be there," I said, hanging up. I mean, I had all the questions in the world. Why was there a security guard for a cruise ship with nobody on it? Why was the position suddenly needed and why did it start tonight? I sat with a strange feeling in my gut. I wasn't in any position to reconsider, so I started packing. After packing, I announced to my friends that I would be gone for 2 weeks as a security guard on a cruise ship and that I wouldn't be in contact. They were happy for me. I didn't include the empty cruise part because they'd probably tell me not to go, but I had already made my mind up. I decided to take a nap until it was time to go. I had a dream about me getting in a car accident and my dad saving me and dying in place for me. I woke up hyperventilating on my friend's couch. "You good?" my friend said, pausing in the doorway to the living room. "Yeah, bad dream," I said, getting out of the couch. I went to take a shower, but that image of my dad wouldn't leave my mind. Him burning alive, reaching out to me. His charred hand and searing flesh kept penetrating my mind. I packed the clothes up that I had and I said my goodbyes. I waited with butterflies in my stomach and I got in my car. I rolled into the port in my Audi and on cue, I saw the ship docking and thousands of people leaving the vessel. It stood above the ocean like a skyscraper in a cornfield. How could something so massive float in the water? I exited my car, locking it as I walked towards the ship. Yeah, there's no way there's only 2 security guards here, I thought to myself while looking at it. What was I doing here anyway? I mean, what was my job? I made my way through the crowd of people leaving and I entered the boat. I walked aboard and saw a bald man with a black suit and glasses waiting for me with a briefcase. Hello, you're Santiago, right? Yeah, I'm here for the security guard position. Yes, right this way, sir, he said, turning and walking. We went through a casino and walked up the stairs to the middle of the deck. There were two sides and both had hotels on either one, and the half that I would be staying in had a mall, a water park, and a curated man-made park. On the other side, from what I could see, it had an identical looking hotel area, arcades, casinos, amusement parks, and shopping centers. We walked between the water park and mall and into a hotel lobby. He escorted me into the elevator and pressed the top floor, floor 31. The doors closed and the elevator was moving at normal speed. However, feeling awkward in the silence, I asked a question that I already knew the answer to. Do I have any coworkers? Well, yes, there's another security guard that you will keep in contact with during your stay. There is also a captain, but I bet you probably will not see him, he said in the same deep voice as before, still professional as ever. The elevator door buzzed and we stepped out. It looked like an average carpeted hotel hallway, except that there was only one room there at the end of the hallway that said, security. We walked in and I found myself in a hotel room with a bathroom, TV, bed, fridge, closet, and a desk with cameras, an AC, and a window that covered the whole wall with a row of blinds. You have enough food and water in the fridge to last you a whole month in here, he said, setting the briefcase down on the bed. This is your $5,000, don't lose it, he said, heading for the door. Good luck, he announced, slamming the door. Good luck for what? I said, laughing to myself. What, this is a cakewalk, easiest 5K of my life. I started unpacking and putting my clothes in the closet. I sat down at my security desk and saw a bunch of papers explaining my job. It basically was telling me when, where, and how to do my patrols, and I got very familiar with it. 9 a.m., 12 p.m., 4 p.m., 8 p.m., and 11 p.m. Not too shabby, I read out loud. And then all of a sudden, I heard a crackling from inside my desk and a voice. I scurried to open it, and I took out the walkie-talkie. Hello, stranger. My name's Alex, and I'm your fellow security guard at the other end of the ship. If you ever need anything, just give me a call. Hey, my name's Santiago. What do you mean by the other side of the ship? Like you have one half? I asked, confused. Yes, she said, laughing robotically. I look over the amusement park, casinos, and the shopping outlet over here on my side of the ship. On your side is the water park, the mall, and the park. Oh, okay, thanks. Also, I did your 11 p.m. round for you, so get some sleep, she said, hanging up. Sick. I don't have a bad coworker, I thought to myself, looking through the drawers in the desk. The second to last drawer contained a piece of notebook paper perfectly spread out with blue pen on it titled, Rules for Surviving the Faceless Man, and it read as follows. Hello, my fellow security guard. I'm the person who took this job before you. If you're seeing this, just know that I either quit or I'm dead. I'm writing these rules for me and you, so take them as seriously as possible. These are the rules to survive the faceless man. Rule number 1. Every day for the 14 days that you'll be here, do your rounds at the same exact time every day as in the timestamps in the sheet that the staff provided you with. Exit your room at the time listed and you'll be okay. Failure to do this will make him more hostile towards you. Rule number 2. If you ever for some reason see the faceless man while doing a round check, pretend you didn't see him. Walk away subtly, and once you think that he can't see you, run back to your room and lock the door. If you're walking away or running and hear skittering behind you, surround yourself in salt and close your eyes. Clutch your Bible and pray. Rule number 3. Avoid the other side of the ship as much as possible. If Alex says that she needs help, tell her that you're busy. The only exception for this rule is rule number 4 and rule 13. Rule number 4. If you're ever doing your rounds outside and see the faceless man staring at you from the window of your room, or come back to see that your room door is open, run to the other side of the ship and don't look back. I've left you a list of rules in the first stall in the boys' bathroom in the arcade. Rule number 5. If you ever hear a scratching at your door while you're in bed, don't be fooled, it's already inside your room. If this happens, you must stay calm and confidently tell it that, "You don't scare me." The door will open and close. Once you hear the footsteps dissipate, get out of bed and cover the door with salt, lock it, and go back to sleep. Rule number 6. Close your blinds before you go to sleep, or you'll wake up to a tapping on your window. Don't look. Run up the stairs and get on the roof. Sleep here until your next patrol. Rule number 7. If at any point you wake up in the middle of the night to a voice in your head counting down from 10, get out of bed, turn on all the lights, and turn on the TV and cameras, and go into your closet. I have made a makeshift lock for you for this exact reason, so lock the closet door. Once in the closet, try to be as quiet as possible, hold your breath, and don't move. Rule number 8. If you're looking outside your window for any reason and see the faceless man staring at you, call Alex and tell her that there's an intruder and that you need help. Then close the blinds, lock your door, and put a line of salt at the entrance to your door. However, if Alex for some reason can't come to help, run to the roof. Rule number 9. I provided a Bible in one of the drawers, and you will have to keep it by the window under the moonlight. This will make the Bible visible if you're sleeping. If you wake up and blood is splattered all over the Bible, get out of there immediately. You'll hear the most horrific things chasing you. You'll see things out of the corner of your eye that you couldn't have imagined. But ignore it. Run to the emergency room in the basement and don't look out any windows no matter what during this time. Lock the door and pull all the switches on the panel. Stay in this room until the sirens stop. And no matter who or what you hear, do not open that door. Rule number 10. Don't answer a call from your phone or your walkie-talkie from 12 to 6 a.m. no matter who it is. You, however, may walkie Alex if necessary. Rule number 11. Scan your cameras once after every patrol. If you see the man looking at you through one of the cameras, turn that camera off. Make a line of salt at the entrance of your door and wait until your next patrol to leave your room. Rule number 12. If the man is ever in your vision and also in the camera, follow Rule 11 and Rule 8 at the same time. However, if Alex doesn't respond, jump from the window and land in the pool under you and follow Rule number 4. Rule number 13. This rule has only happened 4 times in my 3 years of being here, but if you ever see an unfathomably huge boat in the distance, go to the other side of the boat while following the rules in the arcade, and go to the captain's office located in the basement of the hotel. You have to tell him what you see and he'll know what to do. This will in turn end your 2 weeks on this boat early and you'll get to go home. You might figure out more rules yourself, but these are all the rules that I've stuck by for 3 years and I still haven't died. P.S. As you go further on in your 2-week stay, it'll get more and more hostile. Also, the roof is your best friend. What the hell? I thought out loud. No way this is real life right now. I have to get off of this boat. And that's when I heard the horn and suddenly we were moving. No, this can't be happening. I said, walking in circles and pulling at my hair. I looked at the clock, 11:30 p.m. Okay, maybe this isn't real, and I cut myself off. Nope, you've watched too many horror movies to know that this is how they die. You're not dreaming, I said, panicking. I closed my blinds, but I could still see a little bit through them. The moon was bright and full. Next to my bed was a desk that was almost glowing in the moon's light. I got the Bible from the door and I set it there. I reread the rules twice to make sure that I wasn't missing anything, and sure enough, I was okay. I fell asleep quite quick and nothing happened that night. I woke up to my alarm at 8:50 and got dressed and ready for my first round. I left my room at exactly 9 a.m. and I followed the map. It led me down the elevator through a mall into a park and a water park. After I got back to my room, I started getting curious, so I walked Alex. "Hey, how's things going over there?" "Great, same old, same old. I've been working here for 5 years, you know." "You've been following these rules for 5 whole years." "What? What rules?" "Oh, nothing, just wondering about the rules about the round checks." "Oh, never mind, I know what you're talking about. Yep, every day at the same time for 5 years. I never missed it. I take pride in it. Let me know if you need any help and I'll do the same. The guy before you never even showed his face. I hope you're not like him." "I'll try to help," I said, blatantly lying. "Well, thanks, at least you might be different," she said, ending the conversation. The rest of the day was pretty easy. I made sure to leave my room at the exact time that it told me to and did my rounds pretty regularly. This actually stayed the same for day 2 and day 3 before I thought that I saw something. On day 3 at night, I was looking through the cameras per usual after my 11 p.m. patrol when I thought that I saw something in camera 8. Camera 8 shows the entrance to the hotel and is the only lit by the light inside the hotel. However, I saw it. There was a skinny man with a black suit and black shoes and no face looking at me from the entrance to the hotel. Rule number 11, scan your cameras once after every patrol. If you see the faceless man looking at you through one of the cameras, turn that camera off. Put salt at the edge of your door and wait until your next patrol to leave your room. Oh, hell no. I stood up and got the salt and headed to the door and poured salt all over the entrance to the door. There was around 10 big pints of salt in the fridge though. I was generous with how much I was putting, knowing that I had a lot more. I stepped away from the door and realized, ah shit, the camera. I sprinted to the camera, but what I saw was something that I still think about to this day. Looking back at the hotel entrance, I saw myself. It looked like me as a kid and I was smiling from ear to ear. The dim light unsettled me even further. "What is that?" I said, trembling. But I couldn't look away. I was in some sort of hypnosis. That was when the faceless man came back into view to the camera. He looked at the camera and even though he had no face, I felt that he was smiling. And what happened next will haunt me to my grave. He looked at the kid, got on all fours and lunged at him with his claws. He ripped my child version of me to shreds. I didn't even try to fight for my life. Instead, I smiled until he ripped that off my face. A tear fell down my face. Stop it, please just stop," I said in a shaky voice. "This can't be real." My eyes were glued to my mangled corpse on the ground. "My God," I said, looking at me. "Why do I feel like it's still smiling?" I said, putting my hands over my mouth. I shifted my view to the faceless man who began to jolt abruptly, his limbs snapping, bones breaking, and in only a matter of seconds, he had morphed into some creature that walked on all fours. His head turned towards the camera, almost confused, and crawled inhumanly fast into the building. I grabbed the Bible, praying that it wouldn't get me. I heard the snapping and skittering steps in my hallway as it made its way to my door. The bone snapping filled my ears, and through my sobs, I prayed that it couldn't get in. I glanced at the camera that faced my room, watching the faceless man as he tried his hardest to claw at the door and bash it in and break it down. But for some reason, I couldn't hear him hitting the door. I only heard its 4 legs constantly hitting the ground over and over again in a rhythmic pattern. I shifted my attention to the door and suddenly the ruckus that he was causing had ceased. I looked back at the camera to my room and he had disappeared. "What the hell?" I said, putting my hands to my face. I started sobbing, realizing that I would probably die here. I was crying for around 30 minutes when I heard my phone ring. I took my hands off my face and looked at my phone, and the number 911 was calling me. You can do better than that," I said out loud, laughing to the stupidity that laid on my phone. "I'm in the middle of an ocean. Why would the police be calling me?" I said, looking at the time. It was 12:46 a.m. I started getting more annoyed than scared or sad that 911 kept calling me, so I put my phone on Do Not Disturb and kept it like that for the rest of my stay. I hopped out of my chair and hopped in bed, doing my nightly routine of closing my blinds, checking the locks, and putting the Bible on the nightstand. I got tucked into bed and I couldn't sleep. Trying to get my mind off of what had happened today, I started playing games on my phone. It was around 2 a.m. when I finally decided that I would try to go to sleep, and I plugged my phone in, turned off the light, and put the covers over my shoulder. I looked into the pitch-black room and started thinking about how I would survive here. "Hey, only 11 more days. You got this," I said out loud. My eyes adjusted to the darkness, and now I could see everything clearly. For some reason, I felt the air change somehow, like something was telling me that someone or something was watching me. "It's just your imagination. Go to sleep," I said to myself, forcing my eyes shut. But I was now wide awake. I opened my eyes to scan the room to try to tell my mind that it was okay and that I could go to sleep and wouldn't die when I saw it. Standing in the corner of my room next to the blinds was the faceless man. He was camouflaged by his black outfit and was so tall that his head hit the ceiling. He was standing still and I could feel him watching me. My mind started racing. This wasn't in the rules. I didn't come back from a patrol. I didn't hear counting in my head, and I didn't hear scratching at the door. What am I supposed to do? It would have killed me if it already wanted to. I started panicking. Pretend that you didn't see it, like in rule number 2. I looked away and slowly went on my stomach, facing my head away from the man, pretending that I didn't see him. After about an hour of me in this position, I heard footsteps at the foot of my bed. I closed my eyes shut and held my breath, pretending to be asleep. When I heard the door open and close shut, I started softly whimpering again in my bed, praying that this would be over soon. I turned on my back, double-checking to see if the man was gone, and felt relieved when I looked at the corner and he was. Well, that's a new rule, I thought to myself. I got the piece of paper and a pen and I wrote, "Rule 14. If you're ever in bed and see the man in your room in the middle of the night, pretend you didn't see him and try to go to sleep." I wrote it in the last margin of the piece of notebook paper, put it on my desk, and I fell asleep. Day 4 and half of day 5 were pretty minimal. I kept thinking that I saw the man in the corner of my eye, but when I would look, he would be gone. I would also get calls at night, but I knew not to pick them up, until I saw that my dad had called me. I looked at the phone and almost passed accept before I knew it was fake. I used to call my dad every day before what happened. I would send him voicemails too, and seeing that on my phone now really crushed my heart. I gotta know what's up with this cruise ship, I told myself. I stood up from my bed and walked over to my desk and picked up my walkie-talkie and I called Alex. To my surprise, even though it was well past 12, she picked up instantly. "Hey, do you need help?" "No," I stuttered, surprised about her cheerful demeanor. "Just got a couple questions about the job." "Yeah, for sure. What do you need?" "What's the purpose of all this?" Listen here, okay? I'm only ever going to say this once and only once. The man is always watching. He's waiting for you to break the rules, so don't break them and you'll be okay." She then hung up and the room fell in an eerie silence. He's always watching me, I thought to myself. Well, at least I know that he can't get me if I follow the rules. Can he? I started panicking, thinking that the rules weren't 100% and almost missed the voice in my head counting. Rule number 7. If at any point you wake up in the middle of the night to a voice in your head counting down from 10, Get out of bed, turn on all the lights, and turn on the TV and cameras and lock your closet. 8. What? I didn't think that. 7. No. I went to turn on my cameras. 6. I turned on my cameras and got the remote and tried pressing the on button. 5. A stupid piece of junk, turn on. I said, slamming the on button as I kept trying to turn it on. 4. It finally turned on. 3. I threw the remote onto the bed and slammed the closet door open and hopped inside. 2. I closed it and locked it from the inside and sat down in the corner under my clothes. 1. I closed my eyes, and as it said 1, I heard the lock on my front door turn and the man stepped inside my room. I held my breath as I heard him skittering around my room, making those bone-cracking noises everywhere that he went. I felt like I was holding my breath for an eternity before he got to the closet and just scratched at it for a second. It was like he was taunting me, knowing that I was in there. Like he could kill me at this instant but wanted to toy with me. He was scratching at the door for about 5 seconds before he scooted off into the hallway, closing the door behind him. I made sure that I couldn't hear his footsteps at all before breathing. I had almost passed out due to the lack of oxygen and started hyperventilating. As I was hyperventilating, I started crying again in my closet, wanting to stay here forever, dreading the thought of even leaving this temporary home. But I had to. I had a future after this. I would go to community college and make myself a happy life. I can't die here. After about 5 minutes of crying, I got up and opened the door. The room was exactly how I had left it, spot on, like he wasn't ever there. I looked at the closet door and realized that there weren't any scratch marks either. It was around 2 a.m. at this point, so I hopped into bed and fell asleep quickly. Nothing happened on day 6 except for the usual phone calls at 12 a.m. and the occasional whispers that I would hear while on patrol. Day 7 came around, and this was my first encounter face-to-face with the man. I was walking and doing my patrol as usual when I thought that I saw something. I was in the water park, making my way out through the exit, when I thought that I saw the man looking in my direction inside of a food truck right next to the exit. I almost looked before I realized that it was real this time and not out of the corner of my eye. I didn't make direct eye contact with it, but I felt that it knew I had noticed it. I walked past the wooden gate of the water park, and after I knew he couldn't see me, I ran to the hotel. I felt like I ran 100 miles before making it to my elevator and spamming the button. I kept spamming it until it finally opened and I hopped inside. I spammed to close before I heard the faint noise of bones cracking and skittering coming my way. I quickly surrounded myself in the salt that I carried with me in my Bible every time I did patrols, and I clutched it tightly. Luckily, it didn't get to me before the elevator closed, but it started slamming against the door. And that's when I heard it skittering up the steps and banging on the door every floor up to my floor, knowing that it would catch me if I got to my floor. I surrounded myself with salt in a little circle, and when we got to my floor, I didn't dare open my eyes. I prayed that I would be okay and sat calm in my circle of salt. I felt hopeless. I felt stupid for believing that some little salt would actually save me from the horror that beheld in front of me. I felt that presence I felt when I saw the man in my room, like something wanted to kill me so badly. It wanted to rip me to shreds and feast on me, like a lion looking at its prey, but it couldn't. I prayed to every god imaginable, and eventually the feeling went away. And that's when I heard that bone cracking walk away from me. Never until now did I realize that it was basically face to face with me, waiting for me to open my eyes. I didn't open my eyes for like 5 minutes. I squinted them open and then exhaled in relief. I was safe. I stepped out of the salt and headed back to my hotel. I got back and accidentally fell asleep due to the events that had just transpired. I woke up at 5 p.m. realizing that I skipped my patrol when I heard a small scratch at my door. For a second, I was confused, but then realized the horror that I was in. This was a rule. I pulled out the rule in my pocket and scanned it. Rule number 5. If you ever hear a scratching at your door while you're in bed, don't be fooled, it's already inside your room. If this happens, you must stay calm and peacefully tell it that. You don't scare me. The door will open and close. Once you hear the footsteps dissipate, get out of bed and cover the door with salt, lock it, and go back to sleep. The man was inside my room, I thought. I sat up in my bed looking at the 90-degree angle of my wall, hoping to catch a glimpse of the man, when I saw the edge of a claw on the floor. I got shocked and then I said, You don't scare me. I screamed, feeling a sense of fight inside me. The scratching got louder and faster until I thought that it was scratching through my door. This went on for about 15 seconds before I heard the door open and close and skittering footsteps softly getting quieter with that god-awful sound. Quickly realizing that this happened probably due to me breaking rule number 1, I got out of bed and put salt at the edge of the door. However, this happened during the day, so how would I go back to sleep like it said to do in the rules? That didn't make any sense. I came to the conclusion that I would just go out at my next shift. It felt like an eternity before my next shift started. I had my ear to the door for like 2 hours and I could hear shuffling throughout the hotel like it was waiting impatiently for me to come out. I was looking at my phone and clenching my salt and Bible, sweating that if I left the room, it would be my demise. It turned 8 p.m. and I looked through the peephole and I didn't see anything. It looked normal, so I opened the door quietly and tiptoed through the hallway to my elevator. I got to the elevator and pressed the down button and it opened immediately. For reference, the elevator doors are glass so you can see through them. Going down the floors, I kept seeing the man look at me at the end of the hallway, getting closer and closer with each floor that passed. I did the calculations and knew that it would be at the door by the time that it got to the elevator door, so I stepped in the ring of salt that I had made earlier and squinted my eyes open, looking at the man getting closer and closer. This is impossible, I thought. The man would have to move at the speed of light. There's no way that's real, I said out loud. I came to the realization that it was my mind playing tricks on me, but I didn't dare leave that circle. At the floor right before the lobby, the man had disappeared. Not feeling safe still, I didn't leave the circle, but when I got to the hotel lobby, I felt a voice in my head say, "For every patrol you miss, it goes down a floor." I shivered and not accustomed to my thoughts not being mine, but I pondered on what it said. If it goes down a floor for every patrol that I miss, that means that I have one chance left. That piece of garbage missed almost 30 patrols. That's probably why he quit, I said angrily out loud. I stepped out and did my patrol as normal. The 8 p.m. and 11 p.m. patrols are the worst since you always think that you see the man due to the darkness that consumes the shift. Until the moon comes up, I have to use the light of the mall and my flashlight to see anything. I finished my next 2 shifts and got back to my hotel room. Usually exhausted by my 11 p.m. shift, I don't check the cameras to my fullest extent, but something told me that I would need to today. I checked each camera fully until I got to camera 14. Standing in the park was the man. However, he wasn't staring at the camera, he was looking towards the hotel. Crap, I said out loud, scared to look out the window. There's something about this in the rules, right? I pulled out the rules and there was. Rule number 12. If the man is ever in your vision and also in the camera, follow Rule 11 and Rule 8 at the same time. However, if Alex doesn't respond, jump from the window and land in the pool under you and follow Rule number 4. Learning from last time, I turned the camera off and quickly walkied Alex while getting my salt.
Yes?
Alex said groggily. There's an intruder, I exclaimed, excited that Alex had picked up.
On my way,
Alex said with more energy and hastily. I thought that I had forgotten to do something when I realized that I forgot to close the blinds. I got to the blinds and started closing them when I thought that I saw my dad looking at me where the man was supposed to be. He looked at me frowning, crying tears of blood and missing his eyes. I started getting teary-eyed looking at it, but I closed the blinds and I hopped in bed. While trying to sleep, I heard commotion outside, but I knew not to look. It was in a language that I didn't know, but it was spoken like they had razor blades in their throat. Thankfully, the night was peaceful. It was day 8 and I only had 6 more days to go. I told myself that I had made it this far and that it was somewhat easy so far. I did my 9 a.m. patrol as regular, thinking nothing was out of the ordinary. I was at the water park heading towards the hotel when something told me to look up towards my room. Standing there in my room was the faceless man. He was staring into my soul with those empty eyes. My heart dropped and I almost gave up. My legs felt weak and I started whimpering. I pulled the rules out from my pocket and I read them while running. Rule number 4, if you're ever doing your rounds outside and see the faceless man staring at you in the window of your room, or you come back to see that the room door is open, run to the other side of the ship and don't look back. I've left you a list of rules in the first stall in the boys' bathroom in the arcade. I ran through the water park and didn't follow my usual route, running straight through the opposite exit through a door that went into a building and into a casino-looking area. I ran through the door and I was greeted by smooth jazz. It was also hypnotizing me. It echoed through this mass expanse of what was supposed to be a casino. But instead I was met with an endless expanse of tan carpet and beige walls that rose hundreds of feet into the air. Only the weak fluorescent lights lightly illuminating the place gave any sign of a ceiling at all. However, in the middle of the casino there was a chair with a noose above it that came from the shadows. "What the crap?" I said out loud, my voice echoing. I ran through the building, admiring what I was looking at. It felt like the building didn't have an end. It felt like an eternity before I got to the other side of the casino. And that's when I heard the door that I came through crash with it falling off its hinges. Even though it was probably a quarter of a mile away from my position, I could hear it clearly and hear the skittering bone snapping behind me inching closer, echoing throughout that large space. I got to the door that seemed so far away and ran through it to find that I was now in an arcade. I entered it and there was pop music playing and all the machines were running. However, it was a lot smaller than the casino. "Bathroom, go to the bathroom like it said in the rules," I said to myself, scanning the arcade quickly. I saw the boys' bathroom and I made my way over to it. I entered and I got to the first stall. On the toilet paper dispenser, there was a folded up piece of paper that said, "Rules to survive Alex's place." I yanked the paper from the tape and unfolded it, and this is what it read. "You're most likely in a rush, so I'll keep it nice and sweet. There are only 6-ish rules. Rule number 1. Do not trust Alex. She might try to lure you or tell you that she needs help, but I promise she'll be okay. Rule number 2. If you ever hear, smell, think, see, or feel any presence that isn't you, run to the arcade. For some reason, Alex's patrol map doesn't go to the arcade, so you'll be safe here. Rule number 3. If you're doing the patrol and the roller coasters ever start and you hear screaming coming from them, run. If you don't make it out of the amusement park before the ride ends, it's too late for you. Rule number 4. Never even look towards the hotels. If you look, you'll die. Rule number 5. If you're in the casino or the outlets and you hear the music change to static and you hear breathing coming from the speakers, run to your side of the ship no matter what you see or hear. This means that they are here, and that you must run to your side to press the button in the basement. When you go back through, the faceless man will be more hostile than ever before, and you must follow the rules. Rule number 6. To get out of here, other than Rule 5, you must do a full patrol for her. Her patrol has no set direction, so just go to the casino, amusement park, and outlet without stopping. After your patrol, you gotta call her and tell her that you did a patrol for her and she'll thank you. She'll know if you're lying to her. And tell her that there's an intruder on your side and she'll go to your side and take the faceless man away for 5 minutes. While she's doing this, you must sneak past them to your room. You cannot go to the other side until this, unless you want the faceless man to kill you. Rule 6.5. The arcade becomes unsafe after a couple of hours of being in it since she randomly checks it once a day. I was contemplating just giving up there after reading the rules. If I just give up and let them take me, it'll be a lot easier than fighting it. I said, whimpering. I felt a pit in my heart, like I was really about to die. I really would just be another number, a person forgotten about. I started talking to myself, trying to give me encouragement. I gave my phone screen, which had my family on it, a kiss and decided to head out and try to get this patrol over with. I stepped into the arcade into the exit door. I stepped out into a fake brick street with arrows pointing saying which place led where. I looked at my phone and it read 12 p.m. Alex was probably out on her patrol right now. I gotta hurry before she could catch up to me. I sprinted through the outlets and through the empty casino and back into the amusement park. However, when my foot went into the amusement park, it was like my body froze up. I felt something almost godlike, something that reigned over me, something that I would have to kneel to. I knew that it wasn't close to me, but maybe in eye view, but I was frozen. I wanted to run so bad, but I was stuck with my foot suspended in the air trying to take a step. Oh, hello, Santiago. I heard a voice that boomed throughout the entire ship. Why don't you come over here and let's ride some rides together? It sounds fun. You're not doing your patrol, are you? I wanted to just run, but I knew I couldn't trust it. Just off of her voice, I knew that it was pure malice and evil. The embodiment of everything bad. Run, get out of here, the voice in my head said to me. And just like that, boom, my foot planted on the floor and I used all the muscles at their fullest to run as fast as I could to that arcade. Oh, you don't want to play? What a shame. I heard a sinister voice say behind me, smiling, but I ignored it and ran even faster. I got to the arcade and fell on the ground out of exhaustion, wheezing. I walked over to the bathroom to get some tap water when nothing came out. My mouth was dry and I was sweating. I started drinking the toilet water out of desperation. I bet he hasn't thought of this before, I said, laughing at my own pity. I stood up and I threw up in the trash can. I felt like a new man. This time I would start in the amusement park and go from the outlets to the casinos. I made my way down the fake brick streets to the amusement park, looking at my phone, making sure that she wouldn't be out on patrol. It said 2 p.m. I patrolled the park and nothing happened. I felt very alone, like nothing has ever been there. It was almost like the roller coasters were rusty and hadn't been rode in years. Feeling very uncomfortable, I headed for the outlets. I went past the roller coasters and the kid rides. They were spinning teacups with faces on them. Fastly walking past them, I physically saw their eyes following me. What the hell? I took a few steps back and I noticed that a couple of them were following me. Yeah, that's my cue to go. And that's when I made a sprint for the exit, seeing the fake carnival horses staring at me too. The outlets had all the big brand stores, but it had a lot of stores that I had never heard of before that looked out of place, like it wasn't there the previous time. Weird. I didn't remember seeing a Maylee's Surgery or the Human Diner. The thing is that their lights were on. Every other store's lights were off except for those two. Yeah, this definitely isn't in the rules, I thought to myself. I walked over and I checked them out. Sure enough, there were actual people inside. My heart dropped. In Maylee's Surgery, there was one operating table with a person on it, but it was more like a corpse now. Their organs were sprawled out everywhere on the operating table. I almost puked looking at it. Next to the corpse, however, was a red-haired nurse who had bloody gloves and tools in each hand. Looking away and towards the diner, I saw pigs sitting at booths and tables. I couldn't contain myself. I rubbed my eyes and looked to see if they were still there. Yeah, another cue for me to leave, I said to myself, not looking back and seeing a pig walk into a table with a suit, or carrying a tray with a corpse of human on it. Leaving the area, I made sure to pay attention to the lo-fi jazz, just in case it decided to change. I made my way out of there and towards the casino, but for a second, something subconsciously told me to look at the hotel. I started moving my gaze towards it, but I stopped before I realized what I was doing. Yeah, that was way too close, I said to myself, now looking in the opposite direction. It was still really bright outside, and I made my way to the casino. I entered it to find the same scene as before. There was an empty tan casino with a chair maybe 2 football fields away from me in the middle of the casino, with a noose right above it. Why do I even patrol here? Everything's already in view, I thought to myself. I went ahead anyway and decided to make one big circle around the place. The lo-fi jazz that played in the background made it a lot more relaxing to do this, but the thought of it turning off always lingered in my mind. As I headed towards the middle of the casino, relaxing to the music as I walked, curiously I went over to the chair. I inspected it, and it was just any regular old wooden chair. My legs were hurting from all that running, so I decided to take a seat. I let out an ah, finally feeling some relaxation in this place. But then I realized that something was wrong. I didn't feel relaxed anymore, something was missing, and that's when I heard breathing coming out of the speakers. Ah, shit, I said, standing up and looking for the exit. I gazed upon it, and then the lights went out for a second. What the? The light came back on, and now there were chairs and nooses everywhere, like it was copy and pasted throughout the entire casino. However, where I was just sitting, there was a corpse of me hanging from the noose. I screamed, looking at myself hanging lifelessly from it, and started running towards the exit. I heard the entrance door open, and I looked behind me. It was a pale woman. Her hair was extremely greasy and frail, and she had sockets for eyes. She looked to be in her 30s and had a gown on, but she was really fast, like inhumanly fast. I booked it, trying my hardest to avoid all the wooden chairs that blocked my path. By the time that I made it to the exit, she was around 50 feet behind me and closing in quick, and so I booked it out of there. Running through that door, my surroundings soon turned into nighttime. I looked to my right, and there was another boat, not unfathomably big like it had said in the rules, but just another cruise ship, almost identical to the one that I was on, coming towards us. I've got to be dreaming, I said out loud, smacking my face. The moon was full, a blood-red tint washed over the ocean. Or maybe not, I said to myself, hearing the exit door barging behind me. I ran through the water park using a small shortcut that I had found that went behind all the concessions until I got to my hotel. Don't look around, just focus on the basement.
Yes, keep running.
I heard Alex's voice in my walkie-talkie. However, I also heard her behind me say that. Oh, come on, just give up. It'll be quick and painless, I swear. I got to the hotel lobby and had a split decision whether to go in the elevator or take the stairs when I decided that the stairs were more inviting. Running down them, I saw the door, and looking through the small box window in it, I realized the lights were off, and I turned my phone light on. All of my senses were heightened all the way, and I had never felt like this before. I went down the stairs into the basement and realized that it was very quiet. I could hear my footsteps and my heavy breathing echo in the pitch-black basement. I made it to the door that said, "Emergency room, staff only." I opened it, and inside there was a desk with cameras on the back wall, and a big panel with a bunch of switches on the right wall. I quickly turned on the light, locked the door, and walked over to the panels. I pressed them all, and the sirens blared immediately. And then my body gave out. I collapsed, and I was cramping all over. While on the floor, I thought about everything that had occurred, and despite the horrors, I was fairly proud of what I had accomplished. I looked at my phone. August 25th, 12:27 a.m. It read. What? Wait a minute, I said, looking at it. I had entered the ship on the 13th. Today was to be my 8th day. It was supposed to be the 21st. What is this place? I said, starting to laugh out loud. I laid down with uncontrollable laughter on the floor. I knew that I looked crazy, but I didn't care. I mean, maybe I was. My laughter was abruptly interrupted. "Oh, please let me in," Alex's voice said outside the door frantically. "Shut up. You literally just tried to kill me. Why would I let you in?" "That wasn't me, I swear. They're gonna get me if you don't let me in," she said, now banging on the door. "Sorry, but you'll have to go somewhere else because I'm not budging." "Oh, Santi, let her in, come on," I heard my father's voice say now. "That's not fair. You can't do that," I said in a shaky, crying voice. "It's me, Santi, your pops." "No, it's not. You're some hideous creature that wants to kill me." "Oh, you're right. Let me in. I swear it'll be quick, okay?" It said now in a demonic voice. I just stopped responding, and the creature also stopped after that. The sirens had stopped, but I still was on the floor. I was on that metallic floor for around an hour before I checked my phone. It was now 1:36 in the morning. I decided to get up and head back to my room. I was in better spirits now when I went to my room and decided to get something to eat, and I headed to the roof of everything with a foldable chair that I found in the hallway. I went up the stairs to the roof and I opened up the latch, unfolded the chair, and I sat down. I admired the stars. Yeah, this might be hell on earth, but that doesn't mean it isn't pretty. I looked around the roof and saw a little hut at the corner of it. I got up and headed over to it. It was a little room with a desk and chair, and there were papers splattered everywhere. There were drawings of the man and pictures of the man before me. He was a black guy with a muscular build, had short hair, and looked very clean. He had a picture of what looked like to be his family on the desk with a camera next to it. I opened the drawer and found many pictures taken, presumably trying to take a picture of the man, but every picture looked like a liminal space. I tried to turn on the camera, but it was broken. The lens was shattered, and so was the control panel that would flicker every time that I tried to tap it. I went back to my foldable chair, and not long after I passed out. Thankfully, by some miracle, I woke up at 8:30 so I wouldn't be late for my first patrol. I got up and headed to my room, and I went inside and stood next to the door waiting until it was 9. Yeah, this is my last 9 a.m. patrol, I thought to myself. I looked at my phone to confirm my suspicions, and sure enough, it was the 26th. I took the elevator, and my 9 a.m. patrol and 12 p.m. patrol were fine. I would see things out of the corner of my eye like normal, but I didn't look and I just kept going. I got to my 4 p.m. patrol and I made it to the lobby and strolled into the water park, keeping my eyes forward as usual. I saw the man and I didn't flinch though. I just turned around nonchalantly and went around the fence and sprinted to my room. I checked the cameras per usual and looked out the window to see the man looking at me. From the water park, he wasn't in frame of any cameras, and so I called Alex. "Alex?" I waited, but she didn't respond. Screw this, I gotta go to the roof. I looked back out the window and saw the face of this man's bones break and him crawl on all fours, skittering towards the hotel lobby. Shit, I basically ran my door over and ran to the stairs. I opened the door and heard the echoing of bones cracking and it heading up the steps. I screamed in my head and ran to the latch and pulled on the ladder. It felt like an eternity climbing the ladder, hearing the skittering getting closer behind me. I got to the top of the ladder and heard the monster right there. I was pushing myself up when I felt it grab a hold of my leg. I screamed and kicked at it until its grip went loose. However, while its grip had loosened, it clawed my leg the entire way down. I screamed out in pain, closing the latch and then clutching my leg. It wasn't anything deep, but he had gotten me pretty good and there was a lot of blood. I hobbled over to the booth and got the med kit and wrapped my leg up. I then screamed at my walkie-talkie, calling out for Alex. Alex, where are you? It's at my floor."
My God, I'm so sorry, Santiago.
I heard from her instantly. I knew she was messing around with me, so I just said, "Come over as quickly as you can, alright?"
On my way.
She said in that playful, cheery tone like she didn't know what was going on. I could still hear the scuffling below me, but I kept all my focus on the pain in my leg.
I dealt with him, sorry about that one.
I heard come from my walkie. "Yeah, thanks," I said, annoyed. I hobbled out of the booth and went down the latch into my room. It felt weird being down there again. I went downstairs at 8 and did my patrol as usual, and nothing happened. I came back up and saw the man on camera 1. I turned it off and got the salt and put it at the edges of the door. I am kinda getting the hang of this, I told myself, patting myself on the back. I looked at the camera, seeing the man trying to break through the door in the camera, but nothing could be heard like last time. It eventually went away and I went back out at 11 p.m. As I left the lobby, I could see Sydney in the distance getting closer. I felt a sense of relief that I hadn't felt in forever. I hobbled around my side of the cruise as quickly as I could while following my map, and I got back as soon as possible. I walked into the hotel lobby with a sense of euphoria. I went up into my room, turned off the lights, closed my blinds, and put the Bible on the nightstand and turned off the cameras. Last time doing this, I thought to myself. I then got in bed, elevating my leg on some pillows because that's what I thought I should do, and I drifted off to sleep. I woke up to the sound of scratching, and still being drowsy, I kind of ignored it for a little bit until I heard it. 10. In my head, oh come on, not again. The scratching got louder, and he was now combining rules, wanting to trick me. Which one do I do first? Get out of bed and turn the lights on, or I tell it that I'm not scared and then do what? But I don't know if I'll have enough time for both. 9. My mind was racing. I could feel the sweat begin to lubricate my palms. 8. The scratching became more insistent, unrelenting, and I could feel his bloodlust. You don't scare me. 7. The scratching ceased, and I glued my eyes shut. 6. It opened the door and skittered away. 5. I got out of bed as quickly as I could. I reached to turn the TV on and set my sights on the bathroom. 4. I turned the camera on and ran towards the bathroom. 3. I turned the bathroom light on. 2. I reached and flicked the main light on. 1. I dove into the closet, closing it but not having enough time to lock it. My leg was hurting so bad and I wanted to wince, but I heard the door creak open and I held my breath and closed my eyes. I heard bone-cracking footsteps right next to me and heavy breathing. It was like he knew that it wasn't locked. He walked around the room slowly, waiting for me to breathe so that he could kill me, but I never did. He was rhythmic and methodic with his steps, like it was a dance of some sorts. I counted 40 seconds before he scurried out of my room, opening and shutting the door and moving down the hallway. I puked out of pain and exhaustion, and let's just say it definitely wasn't pretty. I hyperventilated and winced, holding my leg that I sacrificed to hide from the monster. I grabbed my clothes and used them to help myself up. I made sure that my door was locked, and I hopped in bed and then looked at my grave mistake. I had left the blinds open. No, I closed them. The faceless man must have done it. I said out loud, realizing that he had opened them. And then I heard the dreadful tapping on the window and forgot what to do. I pulled out the rule sheet and it read, Rule number 6, close your blinds before you go to sleep. If you fail to do this, you'll wake up to a tapping on your window. Do not look. If this happens, run to the stairs and run to the roof. Sleep here until your next patrol. I got up, wincing still, and ran to the latch. I then heard the same sound behind me, but I was faster getting to the latch this time and got up before he could catch me. I crawled onto the roof, shutting the latch behind me, and I fell asleep right there on the spot. The rules were right. The room felt comfortable. It was like home up here. I felt safe. I could hear the faceless man, but I didn't care. I fell asleep and I slept like a baby. I woke up to the sound of the ship horn blaring. I looked at my phone and it was 10 a.m. I got up and looked over the roof and saw hundreds of people entering the ship. I had never felt so much glee in my life looking at people. I hobbled down the roof and into my room. I packed all my clothes into my suitcase along with my $5,000. And then I heard Alex's voice come through the walkie-talkie.
Bye, Santi. Hope to see you again.
She said now in a sinister voice. Yeah, see ya. I said, putting the rules and Bible in the same drawers that I had found them in. I put the walkie-talkie in last. I hobbled as quickly as I could into the elevator. I pressed lobby and I checked my phone. Finally service. As the door shut, I felt something in the air change. I looked up to see the faceless man staring right back at me. Only the glass elevator doors separated us now. My heart dropped and I started whimpering. No, you can't get me now, it's all over. It got closer and closer with each floor. I started praying. It got to floor 2 and he was still there. Please, no, please, I said, closing my eyes. The elevator dinged and I squinted one eye open. Looking at me dumbly was a grandma and her grandkid. Hello, the grandma said in a warm tone while the kid looked at me crazy. I exhaled a huge breath. Hey, I said, hobbling past them. I made my way to the casino and went through where everybody was coming from. Looking back at my room, I saw the man looking at me. I gave him the finger and hobbled to the exit of the ship. I exited the ship with no plan other than to get to the airport and go back home. I didn't even care about how I smelled, my leg, or how I looked. I just wanted to be home. I looked at my phone and saw from an anonymous number that my flight was at redacted airport at 6 p.m. in Terminal A26 with the ticket. I sent back the middle finger and blocked them, saving the picture and going to the airport. I'm now back home in Honolulu and plan to turn my life around. My leg's fine and I'm planning on going to community college to get a degree in computer science. But I swear every now and then, out of the corner of my eye, maybe in the tree line or peeping behind a house, is that faceless man, staring at me with those empty eye sockets.